It is time for our expert picks presented by FanDuel. Picking every NFL game against the spread here, Week 16. Yeah, we've got Saturday games this week. Texans, Chiefs.
Finally.
Will Patrick Mahomes play?
We got everyday games coming up. Are you kidding me?
Steelers, Ravens also on Saturday. And look at this! It's post-Ozempic Pete!
Yeah.
He finally had a winning week, so we finally updated his picture after Pete dropped 70 pounds.
No.
It's not 70.
By the way, no, it's not.
Oh, it's
They had me in that studio for 45 minutes. They couldn't find one picture of me smiling. This is unbelievable.
Maybe you chose not to smile?
Go look at the pics. A lot of smiles, man.
11-6, Pete. How did you finally?
That picture's from today when we did the
Must have been some noise in the studio.
It was angry Kyle today.
Stop. Moving on to the picks.
I had a good week, and I actually hit my best bet for once in my life.
That was good.
And I continued my streak. I hit my 6th straight best bet.
We know. We heard it about 12 times when we were in the newsroom today.
So you have to stick around to get my pick.
He's been hot. He has been hot. Yeah, on fire.
He's feeling himself after he turned 40
really
yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I had a winning week. That's progress.
Let's start with Thursday Night Football. We already talked a little bit about this game. We have the Chargers, the Broncos. Broncos at Chargers, if you will. Both of these two teams still looking for a wild card spot. They are both in very good position right now. Broncos, though, if they win this game, they clinch a wild card spot. The Chargers are favored by 3 at home. The total's 42.5, and you guys are on opposite sides of this one. Kyle, which way are you leaning?
I'm going to go with the Broncos. Just, they have an opportunity to clinch here. Let's go get this thing done. Sean Payton is a coach that I would imagine would have the right things to say prior to this trip to Los Angeles. I trust this team. I feel like they understand what's at stake. The Chargers got absolutely demolished the other day. I know they had a close one against Indianapolis and Denver, but I'm going to go with the Broncos in this matchup.
And I'm going to go with the Chargers. I didn't like what I saw from their defense. I think they'll rebound here. But more than anything, I didn't like what I saw from Bo Nix last week. And so when I look at Bo Nix and I see Justin Herbert, I'm going to take Justin Herbert in the game, so I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Jim Harbaugh and that team coming off a 40-point allowance to Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. That's been one of the best defenses in the league so far this season. That's Thursday Night Football. Again, 2 games on Saturday. Let's start with the one that, man, it's tough to pick this on a, what are you writing over there? You passing notes?
Broncos, Chargers.
Okay. Let's go Saturday. Patrick Mahomes may not play. It's kind of baked into the line right now. You can get points.
It is baked in.
You can get points at home for the Chiefs if you want it.
You go first.
I know where I'm going. I'm going with the Chiefs whether he plays or not.
Yep.
Have we seen anything from the Texans that would indicate that they should be favored over even Carson Wentz on the road? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get this. This line looks fishy. I'm going to take the bait and bite the hook because I don't understand it. Carson Wentz is not awful, and I think the Chiefs' defense will be good enough. And the Texans haven't showed me at all year long that there's a team that can go on the road and win in this game. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here.
I'm taking the Chiefs as well. I hope it's cold, nasty, windy, real wintry conditions there.
Pete loves that weather. It's his favorite weather.
That's football weather, baby.
It's football weather.
Football weather.
Yeah, and you know what? Put a roof on everything.
I'm going to be taking the Chiefs as well. And I think Carson Wentz, if he does play, he will do a more than serviceable job. They've got some really bright minds, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball in terms of coaching staff. And Carson Wentz, just go out there. You don't have to do anything special. Go get yourself a win, man. That defense will play well against Houston. They'll get after C.J. Stroud. Give me the Chiefs.
But you're right. This number indicates that they don't think he's playing. They don't think it. Otherwise, they'd be like a...
Does he come off the bench if it's a barn burner?
I don't even think you put him in.
Take that big red jacket off. You know what I'm talking about?
Let him sit up there in the booth with Taylor Swift and the rest of the game.
Oh, that would be iconic.
I think that's the last place.
Let him sit up there with his brother.
That's like when Deshaun Watson initially got hurt. He was sitting upstairs. That is the first game on Saturday. The second game, we have another very interesting one, maybe hard to pick as well. Steelers going up against the Ravens. Steelers coming off their loss to the Eagles here. Interesting, though. Steelers won earlier in the season. This is their second meeting. If the Ravens win this one, they are tied at the top of the division. Ravens favored by 6.5 in this one. Pete, who do you have more faith in?
I have more faith in the Ravens. Look, we saw the Steelers last week without Pickens, and the offense had 160 yards of total offense. That's awful. And Russell Wilson didn't look very good in that game. In fact, nobody did. And we don't know if Pickens will be there. If he is there, that gives him a better chance. But I like the Ravens, what we saw from them offensively. The Giants aren't very good, but the Ravens showed better on offense. Remember, coming out of the bye, they went into the bye, there was concerns about the offense. They were better. I think defensively they're getting better as they get more guys back. I like the Ravens in this game minus the points.
Lamar Jackson's red hot right now, and I feel like this defense for the Baltimore Ravens, they're coming around. And so much of what the Pittsburgh Steelers do and their success is predicated on the moon ball, the lunar launch, Russell Wilson, George Pickens. And if George Pickens is less than 100%, if George Pickens isn't on the football field, I have real concerns about what the identity of this Steelers offense is. To your point, 170, that ain't unlimited, my man. That ain't unlimited.
We usually pick all the primetime games in this first little block, but we're going to save that for last because of the couple games on Saturday. So much more to come here on our picks show. Amanda, why don't you do this little tease, because this is your favorite.
Oh, it's our favorite tease. This is CBS Sports HQ. Welcome if you've never been here before. We do news, we do highlights, we do scores. It's all here, really. If you've never been, welcome.
Yeah.
We're happy you're here.
That's all you need to know. Coming up next, we're picking the Sunday early games, including the Eagles and Commanders. Philly red hot. Oh, Amanda saw Philly firsthand last week. The biggest Eagles fan we know, Amanda.
Caw-caw.
Expert picks presented by FanDuel. We have reached the Sunday games. Shabby.
And you didn't even say Sunday.
He needs to practice that. He can't do it.
I need to go to a speech therapist.
CBS.
No, none of you can do it. It's like somewhere
Chris.
hot.
I have a small gap between my two.
No, it's CBS. See, I can do it.
This is great content. Hope you guys are enjoying it.
By the way, the face he makes when he tries to do it is well worth. Do it.
Like Popeye.
Look like Jim Carrey.
Get your spinach, Popeye.
Let's start with Rams-Jets. The Rams, they control their own fate in the NFC West right now. Aaron Rodgers, hey, that connection to Devontae Adams last week was great.
That documentary finally come out?
Which one?
The one on...
Not yet. It hasn't come
We've
out.
gotten some teasers.
I've seen some teasers.
Aaron Rodgers
I've seen him sitting there with all the paint on his face, and I don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, he's playing good football the last couple of weeks. Devontae Adams didn't have a catch in the first half, and he had 190 yards in the second half. It was amazing, the game he played. They're playing much better. Aaron Rodgers is playing much better. And this is one of those be careful games for the Los Angeles Rams. And I just think going across the country, you have your eye down the road on that Seattle game, you're thinking about the division. I think the Jets are going to play well here, and I think they're going to cover the number, and it wouldn't shock me at all to see them win the game outright.
Jets are one of these teams. You know what? I'm going to start with this. Credit to Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes it takes longer for things to come back, like confidence and feel and rhythm. And I wrote him off early in the season, but he's played pretty well the last few weeks. And obviously things are going in the right direction. But I just think that this Rams team is a group that can get up and play against anybody. I'm not sure I can say the same thing about the New York Jets football team in their current state. I'm going to be taking the Rams in this one. I know it's a long way to go. The weather's a little bit different on the East Coast. But I trust that group with Sean McVay and that offense.
You get Lions going up against the Bears this weekend as well. Lions, yes, they are coming off their loss to the Bills, but they are favored by 6.5 in this game. I don't know who's in. You're probably not in a bad spot because you're a fake Lions fan. Kyle?
I'm going to be taking the Lions.
How are you feeling?
In this one. About the Lions or the Bears?
About the Bears.
You're going to get our grizzly bear
I'm feeling pretty down.
over here.
They need wholesale change in Chicago. I mean, the same amount of changes that the defense of the Detroit Lions have had to go through because of injury, those are the same kind of changes I need to see in Chicago from a leadership standpoint.
Let it out. It's good for you. Let it out.
Okay, I didn't get to watch this game. I was very tired. I went to bed very early.
Don't.
But then I woke up and I just saw that outrage from Bears fans.
Just don't.
Let it out. It's
Lions.
good for you. This is your therapy.
That's
Let
it?
it all out. Let it out.
My therapist session's on Friday.
Free yourself. Let it out.
I'm going to be taking the Lions, just like I took the Vikings last night.
And I'm taking the Bears.
Why?
Because, in large part because I think the Lions are so decimated on defense. I mean, you look at that defense, it is awful.
And David Montgomery's out for the year now.
If the Lions score twice, the Bears lose the game.
On that defense, now you're taking McNeil and Davis off the field. I mean, you have their best pass rusher already off the field, Hutchinson, your second best pass rusher off the field now, McNeil. Your linebackers, the group is decimated. Now you don't have Carlton Davis, your best corner. they have major problems. They'll keep it within this number. They're not going to win the game.
They're going to get 5 sacks. The Detroit Lions will get 5 sacks in this football game.
The Bears are going to cover the number. They won't win the game, but they're going to cover the number.
The Lions are going to win by 14-plus points, and Caleb Williams will get sacked 5 times, and there will be another meltdown on X.
Is this why you're posting all those workout videos right now? Like, it's just like post-Bears games?
Rise and grind, baby.
I have beautiful daughters. I have to stay in shape because eventually they're going to be at the age where suitors will come knocking. I want them to understand that I'm ready. If you guys,
he's our rise and grind Instagram guy.
I don't know about that.
Honestly, it's very impressive.
Lions still have the #1 seed in the NFC right now, but it's a 3-way tie with the Eagles and the Vikings, and the Eagles play the Commanders this week. Eagles now in play very much so for that top spot if the Lions trip up here because of all those injuries, but this is in D.C., and the Eagles won that first matchup thanks to 20 points in the fourth quarter as they look to extend their longest winning streak in franchise history.
I'm going with the Commanders here. I just think this is a great spot for them to show everybody, look, people are counting them out. And we talked about them today. Of the one team that's going to be in the playoffs in the NFC, who don't you think can make the run? And we said, well, all of us said the Commanders. But I think this is a great spot for them. You get the Eagles coming off a physical game against the Steelers, and now they don't have, what are they going to use for motivation since they used it last week with the Brown situation and the quarterback and Hurts and you know what they did? They took that and then they threw them the football the whole time. So it clearly got underneath their skins.
There's motivation. The #1 seed in the bye in the NFC.
No, I get that, but I'm saying what happened last week got under their skin, and they allowed it to. So they used it as motivation, then they threw them the football a bunch of times. I don't think you can do that every week. I think they come down off of that a little bit. I think Washington plays well.
Here's some other motivation. For the next decade, you're going to have to play against this guy, Jaden Daniels. Don't let him get your number early. And one thing that I know for certain is that those fans in Philadelphia, as well as those players in that locker room, did not want to hear about Jaden Daniels and the Commanders early on in the season when they were on that hot streak. And he was Offensive Rookie of the Year. Shoot, he was in the MVP conversation. The Philadelphia Eagles are a complete football team. Defensively, offensively, they play with a chip on their shoulder. I love the Eagles in this spot, Pete.
He loves them.
Love them.
He loves them.
Oh, look at the big Eagles fan that just appeared a couple years ago out of nowhere.
Oh, I had so much fun.
Look at Amanda. She claims to be a fan. She's on the sideline.
She said those fans were so nice. She didn't meet one Eagles fan on the sideline.
First of all, I've been to many an Eagles game. Second of all, I have a friend who has a partner that works with the team. We did go sit with the people after that.
Aren't you a Cowboys fan?
We got to talk about this.
Yeah.
Not like
I thought you were a Cowboys fan until about 10 minutes ago. I saw you in the Eagles beanie.
It takes people a while to, people in Texas would get very mad.
Okay.
I grew up something about them never resonated.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But you didn't grow up an Eagles fan.
Not until not
until they won the Super Bowl.
Not until they won the Super Bowl. When Nick Foles won the Super Bowl,
Philly special won her over.
Yeah,
that's what it did.
Aren't you ever watching a game and you're like, I'm not really sure who I'm rooting for until you realize you were rooting against a team? That's how it was growing up with the Cowboys.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's probably why I was a Giants fan, because my parents were Giants fans. But living in Philly, I hated the Eagles because I was a Giants fan. Hated them.
Yeah. And I didn't grow up in an NFL family. Okay, that's enough of story time here. What game are we going to next?
Giants.
Where are we? Giants and Falcons? All right, what about that? Giants and Falcons. Falcons still battling the Bucs for the top spot in that division, trying to make the postseason. Favored by 9.5 here. They are going up against, apparently, your New York Giants.
Yeah, they're not my New York Giants. They used to be when I was a football fan.
So when did you switch?
When I was a fan. I don't root for anybody.
He's in the media now.
He's a professional, Amanda.
Yeah, I don't root for anybody. Yeah, I don't root for anybody anymore. But I did grow up a Giants fan. They are terrible right now. And did you see the banner flying over the stadium? Get rid of everybody.
Malik Neighbors didn't pay for it.
No, I know. But this is a team in big trouble. But I'm laying this many points with the Falcons. I can't believe I'm laying this many points with Kirk Cousins.
Give me the Giants. If Michael Penix trots out there and is the starting quarterback, I'm going to call our producer Jack and say, can I retroactively change my pick?
No,
but if
I'm taking
Kirk
the
Cousins
Falcons
out there, I'm going to be rolling with the Giants.
I'm taking the Falcons with Kirk Cousins. I think Bijan Robinson will have a big day running the football. The Giants are a mess offensively as well. And the one thing that does caution me a little bit here, I told those guys, the interview with Kirk Cousins after the game on Monday night,
Oh, boy.
He looked like he had a glazed over look and has lost
Even
his
after a win?
confidence. It lost his confidence. He was terrible. I'm worried about him.
You're worried about the glazed look with Kirk?
We sometimes get that talking to you.
Usually it's before big games or night games or whatever.
Well, this is not
now
really
it's
a big
after
game.
games.
Claw has come for Kirk.
Don't put the claw on me.
You got to win this, though, if you're a Falcons fan, to keep hope in that division. And they do have the tiebreaker. If they end up tied, they would end up winning that division. Let's go to the Cardinals and the Panthers. And it was kind of a crash back down to earth for Bryce Young last week in Carolina. And here come the Cards. Still only a game out of first in that division, Pete.
Yeah, and look, they regrouped and played well last week. That's a bad Patriots team, and you got to give them credit for staying in it. They're still in the hunt. They lost that game. They're out. Now you got a long trip to go play the Panthers. I just don't think that they should be laying this many points. I'm going to take the Panthers.
This is my gut feeling game. I'm just going to go gut feeling. Bryce Young gets back on the horse this week behind that offensive line, has a good week, and I think he goes out there and he outduels Kyler Murray in Carolina, and I think the Panthers go away.
And the Cardinals' defense is not very good, and I think they've kind of overachieved this year, and at times this offensive line for Carolina, really good group. They're going to push them around a little bit.
At 1 p.m. on CBS, we get the Titans going up against the Colts at the Colts here. Only 3 spots left in the AFC to make the postseason. You get the Ravens in a great spot, the Chargers and the Broncos. The Colts, they got about 11% chance to make the postseason. They're still trying to do it, favored by 4.5 at this game, Pete.
If Jonathan Taylor doesn't drop the ball last week, they're probably going to make the playoffs because their schedule is favorable. This is a game I think the Colts, look, Will Levis, I'm wrong on him. I've said it many a time. He's not very good.
Wait,
he might get
I had
benched.
not heard you say that.
Yeah, I just said it.
He did earlier. I can vouch for that.
I've said it. And I'm going to take the Colts here. I think they cover the number. Again, though, if Jonathan Taylor just takes 2 more steps into the end zone, the Colts are probably in the playoffs because their schedule down the stretch is so easy. They would probably get in.
It's treasonous to drop.
It's terrible. I
hate
hate that. What's the point? Why do they do it?
You know, and there's people I hear on social media, they're like, well, he's already right there. Just give him the points. I'm like, no, that is a sacred line. It's the end zone. That's the goal line, dude. It's like when you watch those marathoners celebrating for the last 50 yards and then the kid beats them at the end. And it's like, you deserve to not win that race because you didn't finish. Same thing with Jonathan Taylor. I hope they do find a way to finish because you and I are both in on the Colts this week, buddy.
What about the runner who steps in at like mile number 20?
Now that's cheating.
That would be you.
Oh, all day. I just got here.
So the Colts are in a very similar position to the Cincinnati Bengals. 2 games back with 3 games to play. At this point in the week, it's looking like it could be DTR for the Browns in this game against the Bengals. The line is 7, and we know the Bengals put up points.
It doesn't matter who plays quarterback because Jameis Winston's not playing very well either. And the Bengals are almost unstoppable right now on offense. And Joe Burrow, if this team was any good, he'd be in the MVP conversation. I think they roll here and they win big.
I just remember how hot we were on Jameis Winston for a few weeks. You know, those pregame speeches really
I just want you to know I was the voice of reason in that.
They really do.
I said this is nice, this is lovely. You can't stop being who you are, Pete.
Right, you are who you are.
You are who you are.
And you're going to have good
All got all hopped up.
Yep.
Nobody listens to me.
But you have Jameis good and Jameis bad.
And they're
never
both
changed.
Equally the same.
It never changes.
And that's why we love them now.
This is one of the biggest crimes of the NFL season is that we don't get to enjoy potentially the best season of any quarterback playing meaningful football with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. It has been criminal to watch how poorly they have performed. I can't wait to see that team with some good leadership and with a good football team.
They're not
done. I'm picking the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals.
They need
I'm picking the Bengals in this one.
They've got to win out. They need either the Broncos or the Chargers to lose out, and they need a little bit more help as well.
It's like Mike Trout for the Angels. It's like, you know, what a waste of talent on a bad team.
Shohei got out of there, so there you go. Pete, Joe Burrow, this is what, his 4th season?
Here we go.
We got 6 more.
It's more than 4, isn't it?
Okay, he was drafted in 2000.
I said 1 in 10.
2 titles in 10 years.
Doesn't matter.
1 in 10.
The clock is ticking.
Well, it'd be nice if he had a defense.
It's about to turn into Cinderella Man.
Cinderella Man, good movie.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Oh, that really is a good movie.
Yeah.
All the Bills, huge statement win in Detroit. And we've got them coming up, laying 2 touchdowns at home against the Pats. We'll pick it next. We've got more games to pick.
You're really singy today.
Yeah, very
you turn
singy.
40 and all of a sudden you become a crooner.
Oh.
Here we go.
Well jacked.
We've got a bunch of games on CBS in the late window on Sunday. We also have a Sunday night game to pick and a Monday night game to pick. Let's jump into it with the boys, beginning with the big spread of the week. Last week we had the Ravens kicked off, I think, at 16.5-point favorite at the Giants. They covered that. This is the second biggest spread of the week right now. Bills minus 14.5 against the Patriots.
They could get this thing taken care of in the first 2 possessions of the football game. I mean, you jump up on this football team. I'm not sure if they have.
Are they going to go for 2?
You could go for 2.
Are we back to the half point again?
If they know that I picked them in this one, I would anticipate Joe Brady will go for 2.
Remember last week? They're going to win by 3.5.
The Rouge. The Rouge. Yeah, I think it's got to be the Bills. I mean, nobody's hotter offensively than the Buffalo Bills right now. I know it's a huge number, but in these games, I don't even look at the number. I just think about how dominant the Bills would be. I'm going to be picking them in this one, Pete.
We might have a push here, and they might win only by 14.5.
Got to go for 2. Got to go for 2.
I'm taking Buffalo as well. I don't think we've seen the best of the Buffalo offense. It's hard to believe, but we haven't. Where was Amari Cooper last week? He was a no-show, and they still scored all those points. He was Logan Ryan's big-time delivery player. He got mushed. He did nothing.
Wow.
And so I'm gonna take Buffalo here. The Patriots are not very good right now. I think the Bills put up a number. Like you said, they shut it down in the third quarter, but they cover the number.
Also on Sunday on CBS 425, you can check out the 49ers at the Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 1.5 in this one, the total 45 and a hook. Pete, which team is closer to booking their tickets to Cabo?
Miami. Miami wilts in the big moment, and that's been a problem for this team under Mike McDaniel and for Tua. What was Tua doing last week? That was terrible the way he played. He'd been playing so well leading up to that. Well, he's playing a team with a winning record. I think the 49ers found a little something defensively. I think they played better defensively against the Rams. I think they will play better defensively here. I'm going to take the 49ers.
I'm going to take the 49ers as well, Pete. And the real disheartening thing for the Miami fans is watching your offense look almost unprepared for some of the stuff that you know DeMeco Ryans is going to be doing. Disguising coverage, rotating post-snap. And with a guy who can read, anticipate, and do all these things that we gloat about Tua Tagovailoa, they just look like they were lost offensively. It really was frustrating to watch. I know the Dolphins fans can't stand it. I'm going to be going with the Niners in this game.
Weird decision. The right tackle was out, and they decided to play Jackson Carman at right tackle. He's a guard who was cut by the Bengals, not very good as a guard. He was terrible as a tackle. It was a weird, why not move Eichenberg or somebody over there and play it that way?
Offensive line's hard, man.
And they got beat up. They got beat up. Tua got hit.
Also at the same time, we have Jags and Raiders. Raiders actually in this game opened as the favorite, and fans were a little excited because it was the first time they had been favored since week 3. That line has now shifted, over to the side of the Jags, favored by 1.5 in this one. Big draft order implications. I don't know who owns.
That's what, if I were.
Okay, so this is Pete's side. As a former player.
I've heard rumblings that the folks in Las Vegas wouldn't mind a couple losses here and there.
But so would the team in Jacksonville.
Yeah, but I feel like they've kind of, the whispers have been a little bit louder in Las Vegas about that #1 pick. But that being said, I do think that the Raiders win this football game. I really do. It might be because I bleed a little bit of silver and black, but I'm going to pick the Raiders.
The winner of this game should not be happy by winning the game because you want better draft position. Particularly, here's the difference. Jacksonville gets the #1 overall pick or the #2 overall pick. They can trade the pick and get assets. The Raiders get the #1 or #2 overall pick. They're going to draft a quarterback.
Yes.
And they need to. So I think the Raiders would be happy if they lost the game. They'd be happier if they lost the game than if Jacksonville lost the game.
You can't convince guys to go out there and lose.
No, you go out and play.
Kyle. Like, I mean, if you're on one of these teams.
I don't care what they're saying on message boards and on Twitter and what quotes have been, taken out of context by coaches and management. You cannot force a competitive player to go out there and throw a football game. You're playing for yourself. You're playing for your family. You're playing for the guys to your right and your left of you.
Correct.
It's unfortunate that people even think that that's something that happens.
You can't take plays off. You're going to get hurt. You got to play to your full. Plus, everybody's watching you.
Yep.
I mean, if you're not auditioning for that team,
have some pride.
You're auditioning. Now, if you get to the end of the game, you can call down on the mic. Hey, get the kicker. Hey, if you shank this, we'll give you a little something in your check. A little something in your check. We're going to give extra 800. Do it. Okay, here you go. Yank it. Boom, and it went wide left, and they're going to pick first over.
$800 is going to
800,000.
$800,000.
I mean, come on. So look, there are ways you can get around it if you need. needed to. I'm not saying anybody does that, but you do win by losing if you're one of these teams. I'm going to take Jacksonville in this.
Jacksonville with a couple of big draft order games back-to-back because they've got the Titans after this as well. Let's move to the Vikings and Seahawks, also in that late afternoon slate, 4:05 Eastern Time. The Vikings, man, it's a lot coming down to these last 3 games because it's either you're going on the road in the first round or you could potentially get that bye and be at home the whole playoffs.
It's incredible. They control their own fate. If they win out, they're going to have the #1 seed. And starting with this game, they might not have Geno Smith. And if they do have Geno Smith on the other side, you're going to be seeing a banged-up Geno Smith. And the offensive line of Seattle was just mauled the other day by Green Bay. I think Minnesota, with all those different exotic looks, are going to throw so many different things at them. I think they get after them. I like the Vikings.
We saw what happened last night to an offensive line that doesn't have the same talent as the group that's rushing against you. And not only that, they don't have a superior scheme to the group that's rushing against you. When I think about Seattle, even if it was a 4-man rush, I would say there's a mismatch there. But with 7 guys on the line of scrimmage, the potential for a backup quarterback being in there for the Seattle Seahawks, you think last week was rough against the Packers? It could look even rougher against this Minnesota Vikings team. I'm going to roll with the Vikings.
What are they, 3-5 or something at home this year, too? I mean, they have.
What happened to the 12s?
Where are the 12s?
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football, we get the Bucs going up against the Cowboys. Pete, you mentioned the Cowboys are playing a little bit better. The Bucs, though, favored by 3.5 in this one. They're trying to keep and extend that lead in their division. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bucs. Even though in back-to-back road games, I love what I saw from them last week. I think they score a bunch of points here, and I think the Bucs keep it rolling.
Baker from the North Texas area, or he's from Austin area.
I love the Buccaneers in this spot. I'll keep it quick. Buccaneers are great.
Yep.
That's all you guys are giving us for that game?
Well, we've been given
a
time
constraint.
constraint.
We got to go quick.
Time constraints.
Due to time constraints, we move on to Monday Night Football. Packers laying 13.5 at home against the Saints, who's going to play quarterback? Rattler?
I mean, Hayner, Rattler, doesn't matter. I mean, none of them are any good, and neither is that team. And they have a lot of old guys that are probably booking their trips to Cabo. I'll take the Packers minus the points.
Yeah, I got Packers as well.
I can't imagine they're going to be enthused,
This
right?
time of the year, you know what that is? Football weather.
Oh.
Give me the Packers.
If you're the Saints and you're playing for nothing, I wish I was in Cabo right now.
Spencer rattled.
That's a bucket list item of mine. I want to go to Lambeau, like in the dead of winter.
You can wear the Packers gear there,
No, you
too.
don't. I've been there. You don't.
I don't want to wear that.
You do not want to go to Lambeau in the dead of winter.
That's you. This is me. We're different people, Pete.
Miserable.
I can't wait. Somebody invite me.
Football weather, Pete. Come on, we're going to be sending you out and about this January. It's Prisco's Picks presented by FanDuel, otherwise known as Best Bets. Kyle and Chris, those 2 guys are killing it, man. Kyle 12-3 this season. I have hit 6 straight.
We've heard
best
that already.
bets. Amanda, I have a question for you. Why are you below Pete even though your winning percentage is better than him?
I don't
You're
make the
2 and
rules.
1.
You know, it's fine
Pete's
because
7 and
I'll
8.
just
You have to have 8
win and
attempts
he'll lose.
to make the
I'll go
you
up
have
3 to
to have a
1.
minimum number
She's
of
the
picks.
Mohamed Sanu.
Not enough bats to win the batting title.
I am back. I'm officially back in studio.
Yeah.
Get ready.
All right.
Are we doing postseason?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start new at postseason.
Okay. Pete, what's your pick?
Bears. I'm taking the Bears.
That's a weird pick.
It is a weird pick, but I think the
Strange.
Lions are so decimated on defense right now that Caleb Williams and that offense will score enough to cover this number. They're not going to win the game. Give me the number.
Did Ben Johnson get mono? Is Jared Goff not going to play? Is Amon-Ra St. Brown not going to have 200 yards?
You know this is a players' league, and there's not many good players on the Lions defense right now.
But their offense scores a lot of points.
Yeah.
I'm going Eagles. Minus 3.5 at the Washington Commanders. It's still a rivalry. They still hate each other, and Philadelphia is still the better team. That's my lock.
Okay,
Manny?
fine. Oh, you want yours to be last because you're doing well right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's waiting. Waiting.
Everybody's
Oh,
waiting.
keep on
They're all going to go get their action in after
I'm
Chris
not-
releases his top pick.
Our producer asked me during the show, so I had to scroll quickly. Rams 3.5 over the
You know,
Jets.
you could have made this pick before
or 3.
the show.
He didn't ask me before the show.
So what's your pick?
I went with Rams.
Okay, Rams is your pick. Good. Thanks for putting so much time and effort into this, Amanda.
You know what? Sometimes it's like
4th
throwing
time you've
darts.
joined us all year. I'm going to go with, I don't have a producer pick yet, do you? Huh?
I bet it's
Producer pick is Rams, too? You're with the producers?
Okay, I didn't know. By the way, in our rundown, it says producer empty right now.
Yeah. I know.
All right.
All right, so both
he
Amanda
probably
and the
copied off of
producers
me.
are on the Rams. I like the Ravens minus 6.5 against the Steelers. They're just a better team. They're at home. They lost the first matchup. This is going to be a blowout.
I think you might be on to 7 in a row, Chris.
You think so?
I do.
Yeah.
And we'll hear about it 14,000 times before we do the show next week.
Did we make it in time? Did we get in?
Did we do it, Jack?
Are we still getting yelled at?
Oh, we have 30
Wow,
whole
yeah, 30 seconds to go.
I'm going to start forcing you guys in the production room to go in a different direction. than
Chris,
the people
how
out
do you
here.
feel about being 40?
How about you try to get Amanda to attend the production meeting before the show? I mean, she didn't even show her face until we came out here on set.
So that's like a key release when two people have the same pick. That's like a key hot release. Yeah, that's a key
Whatever
release.
the producer picks, you go the other way.
You
this
call
year.
that in the old give out the top picks. It's a top pick.
Man,
Give
why
out
don't
the
you do
hot
another
pick.
teaser? That worked out well for you when you did that.
You know what? That was the producer's
Only
fault.
Tommy does
That's
it.
why I have a loss.
Good
Tommy
luck,
teaser.
everybody.